Give me the ball. Give me the ball. Peace. Oh, it's cold out here. Aloha, YouTube family. Give me the ball. I'm dog sitting for my mother, but that does not mean life stops and things don't still continue to happen to us. And so things are still continuing to happen to me as they are happening to you. I want to say welcome or welcome back to the Palace of Persephone. Thank you for joining me here. Thank you for liking, for commenting, for sharing, for subscribing. I've received a lot of beautiful comments recently from a lot of beautiful people, and I am appreciative of you guys for speaking with me and connecting with me more deeply. Come here, Thor. Little Thor. Come here. Let me see the ball. I wanted to come on here and speak for just a short amount of time about something that took a really long amount of time in my life, and that was my Saturn transiting through my first house. And what that felt like, and what I anticipate I will notice as Saturn has now entered my second house. Come here! So, Saturn was in Capricorn in my first house, and Saturn was also in Aquarius in my first house, all 30 degrees of Aquarius. Where my Capricorn Rising's at, where my Aquarius Rising's at, I'm sure you're in here with me, based on the title of this video. If I could say anything... He's just going to lay out there. Okay, well maybe he knows I'm recording. If I could say anything about Saturn having come into my first house and it not take as long as it took for Saturn to be in my first house, it would be to say that Saturn is a teacher. He is a strict father, and me having an absent father figure in my life, it was actually quite interesting to have such a fatherly, disciplinary energy over the first house, which is your body, it's your personality, it's how you dress, it's how you express yourself, it's who you are. It's like, hi, my name is this, you know your rising sign. And so Saturn being there for me, I mean, feels like, I can tell he's not there anymore. It was very obvious the day that he exited. I was like twerking in the bathroom because it felt so good. But when Saturn was in my first house, he teaches you hard lessons, and he teaches you them again and again and again until you get it. It's like something I've learned recently from watching people play sports, because I was not a sports child, was that there is value in doing something and not getting it right the first time and getting asked to do it again and again and again and again until you get it. Which is exactly what Saturn asked me to do in my first house of my personality. Oh, you say you like these things? Well, here's a challenge. Are you going to do these things in front of that person who doesn't agree with them? Are you going to say these things you believe in to someone who doesn't believe in them? Are you going to dress the way you want to even though other people don't believe in it? Are you like, again and again and again, over and over and over again? Until, and what's interesting for me at least was, while Saturn was in my first house, it was just hard the whole time, just difficult the whole time. And like even my throat speaking on this right now is very like fluttery, because it hasn't been something that I've spoken about out loud since I've been in it. It was difficult the entire time he was there, and he was showing me through these challenging experiences how much I value what was being challenged. That's the big thing for me with Saturn going into my first. The things he was restricting and keeping me from and stopping me from experiencing were exactly the things that I find so important in my life, the things that I value so much. I value being able to dress how I desire to. I value being able to speak how I want and share what I want and sing what I want and do what I want. I value being able to speak on the things I believe in, just like other people speak on the things they believe in, even if the things I believe in are a little galactic and alien in nature. I desire to do that and not be judged for it, and to not be shamed for it, and to not be silenced for it. And those are all the things I was experiencing when I was in my first house, and it was really difficult. And I was very frustrated a lot of the time. He also physically restricted my ability to gain weight. I stayed 100 pounds to 105 pounds for the last couple of years. I can eat like no one's business, and this isn't me just saying, oh my gosh, I eat so much. I literally am like a black hole, and just no matter what I ate, I was not gaining. But most recently, as he has exited my first house, I have become highly aware of my body, become highly aware of the value of my body, highly aware of everything that has happened to my body, what I've done to my body, what's important to do with my body. And so I've recently prioritized, instead of calling it yoga, instead of calling it working out, I say, my body feels like stretching right now. I'm going to stretch it. My body feels like working itself right now. I'm going to work it. My body feels like being rested right now. I'm going to rest it. Saturn taught me the value in my body of honoring when to work, when to rest, when to stretch, and to recognize that I do affect my body and I do have an impact on my body. And although he restricted a lot of things happening to it, now I feel this full capability of honoring how I can affect it because it was so unaffected for so long. Come here, Thor! Thor! He looks like he wants to run across the street. Thor! Come here! Come on! Good boy! So, he also restricted, like I said, just being honest with you guys, because I can be honest with you guys, am an alien. I am a galactic being. And if you're watching this video, then most likely you are a galactic being as well. You've had galactic origins as well. You've chosen to come down to the earth realm at this time to embody those high vibrational, beautiful, heart-centered places down here on earth and to anchor that in. If you're anything like me, sometimes it's difficult to be that around other people who haven't found that in themselves yet, because you're showing them something that they don't feel they have within themselves, so they get mad or jealous or want to project onto you, when really all it should be is an opportunity for them to be like, I like that. I think I want to do that. And it doesn't have to be about owning anything. It's about sharing it. So, these last number of years with Saturn there, he definitely taught me how important it is to me to be free, because he restricts, to be free, Aquarius, also in my first house, wants that freedom, to be free to express myself, to be free to express my truth, to be free to express my alien nature, and to and speak in light and speak in my truth and express just connect to the earth, connect to everything I desire to. And I was put into environments where, maybe people don't agree with that, and that's okay. But what isn't okay is that I continue to quiet and restrict myself because of that. That, if anything, is just a sign to me that I'm not where I'm meant to be, or where you're meant to be. And so, Saturn, moving into Pisces in my second house, has only been for about a week now. A little less than a week, actually. And immense changes. And it almost felt like, and I expressed this to my partner, it felt like when Saturn exited my first house and went into my second, right before it went to my second, Saturn got his little checklist and he's like, all right, Earth Talisa, have you learned this? Check. Have you learned this? Or I'm going to test you on this. Can you say no? Check. Can you assert yourself? Check. Can you set a boundary? Check. Can you wear what you want to no matter who's around? Check. Can you do something you desire to do even though other people might not agree with it? Check. Can you find the courage to start sharing your alien nature with other people and not care what they think? Check. And just going down all these things that I felt so frustrated about over the last number of years and making sure, okay, seems like you've learned it. Checked it all off and has ushered me into my next Saturn journey, which is interesting because not only is Saturn in the first, sometimes from the books I read about Saturn returns, is that when Saturn does transit your first, it is like having a Saturn return. So it's like I had a Saturn return before my Saturn return. And I'm not mad about that, because that's why I feel like I'm so ready to receive my Saturn return without fear, because I have been working really hard. And it's okay to tell yourself that too. Don't make yourself feel like, no. If you're a Capricorn Rising, Aquarius Rising, Saturn's going through your first, any of these experiences, you're working hard. And Saturn is asking you to work hard, whether you want to or not, so I know you are. I've been working hard, and not all of the work that we do is external. A lot of it is internal, and no one's really going to see it. You're going to feel it. They're going to feel it. That's how you're going to know, because they're going to notice something's different, and I noticed something was different. I was walking differently, talking differently, feeling differently. And Saturn moving into my second now my second house is 0 degrees Pisces, Saturn entering into there, I already understand that they're asking all of us, really, with Saturn and Pisces, to have trust and faith in our guides, in our spirit guides, in our higher self signing up to come down here, that everything that we are coming down here to share about and express about and be about and live about is going to require all of our faith, all of our trust, and knowing we will be supported along those paths, the paths less traveled by. I honestly, it's funny, I feel like I kind of have a lisp right now, and I don't know if, like, because of something I'm talking about, my personality. I think I did have a lisp as a little kid. I don't know, it's coming out right now, but we're being asked now, with Saturn moving into Pisces, to have our trust and faith in our spiritual missions, in our spiritual purpose, in our spiritual nature, in ourselves as spiritual beings. And that's what I'm moving into. And it feels pretty damn good. Just gonna say that. It feels really good. And I'm ready. I recommend taking some time and sitting alone in silence. I tried to do it in the shower. Apparently that was too loud. So I went to a room. No one else is home. No one else is in the room. And I meditated and I prayed to my guides and asked, and I received. Seek and you shall find is a song by Free Soul that has been very, very potent recently. And I'm grateful for Saturn and everything he taught me in my first house. It was not easy, but it was the kind of not easy that's worth it at the end. It was the not easy that I understand now, and like I understand why everyone else is like, no, you'll understand when it's over why it happened, and I understand now because it's helped me. Thor, no sir, no, leave him alone. There's like bunnies and foxes that live in the field. Where's your ball? Where's your ball? I understand now why all of these things happened to me and why they were asked of me. Get your ball. Let me see. Where's your ball? So yeah, I'm going to take this as a nice natural closing for this video. If you just recently had Saturn in your first house, tell me how you're feeling. Do you feel lighter? Do you feel freer? Do you feel an ability to understand what you really value about yourself, about your personality, about what you want to express about yourself, how you want to express yourself, why you want to express yourself? Do you feel more of a desire for that freedom to do so? Do you feel freer? If Saturn is moving into your second house like me, do you understand you're being asked to do something that requires complete trust and faith that you'll be supported in moving into something that is less materialistic and 3D and more spiritual and energetic? Let me know in the comments below. So yeah, I'm ready. I'm grateful for my Saturn return. I'm ready. Saturn is returning to me in the best way he knows how, and that is by asking me to do things I have never done before, but now knowing how much they are worth doing because of how much I value myself and who I am and all the parts of me that make me me. Just like you're honoring all the parts that make you, your unique galactic nature down here on Earth. So thank you for sitting and hanging out with me, give me the ball, and speaking with me and listening to me, and hopefully watching some pretty interesting cloud formations behind me because I can kind of see it, but there's a glare. So thank you for sitting, receiving all my Caps and Aquariuses, and just people who understand Saturn energy, or maybe just curious about what's going on with someone who's just recently had their Saturn transit in the first house, Saturn return, etc. and so on. I'll probably speak later through my Saturn return about what I'm learning. But until then, as always, I am sending you peace amidst your Saturn transits, and I'm sending you love.